Activity-based intelligence, or ABI, is an emerging methodology of all-source intelligence production that emphasizes the attribution of geospatial and temporal information to previously untagged data, rather than provide strategic intelligence or current intelligence on previously established targets. ABI is a form of discovery intelligence. ABI provides insight into the unknown by examining entity behaviors, discovering correlations, and uncovering networks. In this demo, Praescient Analysts employ ABI methods using a combination of real-world and notional data on the Recorded Future and Semantica platforms to monitor and uncover corruption in Guatemala's military. Despite former Guatemalan President Otto Perez Molina's resignation and subsequent arrest under charges of corruption and money laundering in September 2015, the international legal community believes that these practices have continued unabated. Analysts suspect the former president's cronies are still involved in money laundering, despite his incarceration. Molina rose to prominence in the military and maintained a strong relationship with the military during his tenure. In addition to the former president's quarters, the National Defense Ministry is also located in the capital, Guatemala City. Using the map view in the Semantica platform, we can plot important internal security force points, including the headquarters, as well as the prestigious nearby military academy, onto the map, which will be helpful in contextualizing Guatemala's military structure later on. In order to determine the existence and scope of corruption within Guatemala's military, we must learn more about the country's armed forces. We begin open source monitoring of the Guatemalan armed forces using data from social media and news reports detailing order of battle, size and echelon, unit type, and leadership. We can then create entities and reveal their links in Semantica's network view. We have now created a baseline order of battle for Guatemala's land forces, its army, against which we can monitor for changes or abnormal activity. In addition to creating a baseline order of battle, we want to establish baseline crime rates around Guatemala. In daily research on Guatemalan military and political affairs, Praescient Analysts find a journalistic report that provides details on violent crime trends by department or province in Guatemala. The report highlights northern and southeastern towns near Guatemala's porous borders as central hubs for violent crime associated with drug and human trafficking. Consequently, we expect to see an elevated level of crime reporting in northern and southeastern towns. Based on circumstances surrounding Perez Molina's arrest, we think some commanders may still be using the Guatemalan gang scene to transport money out of the country. In order to detect whether there is collusion between military commanders and gang leaders, we monitor open-source intelligence information coming out of Guatemala and look for anomalies in reporting. Using Recorded Future, a social media analysis tool that harvests open-source data from hundreds of thousands of sources, we set up persistent, city-specific queries to monitor criminal activity in several northern and southeastern towns prone to crime, then cross-referencing this information with Guatemala's order of battle we developed earlier. Given the journalistic report's findings, we expect to see an elevated level of crime in all northern and southeastern towns we've identified. However, after comparing the number of armed attacks in blue to the number of protests in orange, we notice an unusual lack of reported crime in the northern cities of Chahul and Coban when contrasted with other border towns. Although the towns of Chahul and Coban are hubs for MS-13, a dangerous Guatemalan gang, there is relatively little reported crime and clashes with law enforcement. Based on this lead, we dig deeper into the military units that are stationed in or deployed to bases in Chahul and Coban, with a focus on the past 2 years under Perez Molina's presidency. We identify Vicente Allendez and Luis de la Vega as the commanders in charge of these bases. Now that we've identified the leaders of these suspicious bases, we set up a custom search to see what connections, if any, exist between these commanders, based on data from the order of battle research we conducted earlier. Using Semantica's Reveal Neighbors function, we can see that the Chahul and Coban-based commanders were in the same graduating class at Guatemala's prestigious National Military Academy. Drilling down even further, we query Semantica to see what other individuals were part of the same graduating class. In doing this, we learned that both former President Perez Molina and the Army's Inspector General, who investigates all allegations of corruption within the military, were also in the 1969 class. Praescient analysts have now identified a potential nexus of corruption within Guatemala's military using ABI methods on the Semantica and Recorded Future platforms. We can now forward this information to the appropriate national and international figures to launch an official investigation into these local commanders.